Hello guys, this is Ronnie from Shanghai BDCOM. Today I will be showing you our GPON interface, web interface, GPON OLT web interface. What are the features, the new features? Well, you can see now our model is showing in here at the top when you access to our GPON OLT web interface with IP. Our default IP is management IP is 192.168.0.1. So when you access to the OLT, you will be getting this first in your monitor. So in the left side you can see the many tabs. First of all, that is the real-time monitoring. Real-time monitor. In this tab, first you will see device information. In this device information, you can see the model number, and the build version. This is basically this build version, basically the firmware version. So with this build version, we can check if it is the firmware is latest or not. However, you can check CPU uses, memory here. This is like same as previous features, previous version of firmware version. But what are the news? Port status. Port status, you can see all the ports here in the left side, the interfaces, port description, and also connection state. Connection is up or down and everything. Also the MAC address, speed, duplex, and flow control. Port statistics, that is one of the important features. Port statistics. In this port statistics, you can check how many bytes send packets, how many bytes are send or receive packets per port. So, and also you can see the discard, how many packets are discarding. Also you can see in the discard rate, you can see the discard rate. If this rate is higher, maybe 2%, 5%, 7%, then something may be wrong. But if it is less than 1%, it's no need to be worried. Then PON optical info. So how many ports? We can see there are 8 GPON PON ports in here. So in these 8 GPON PON ports, all are functional and all are running. How we can understand? See, this is the TX. All of them are the TX. So all ports are connected with the PON module. In the right side, if you can click detail in here, so you will be getting that detail information under that PON port. Okay, for example, if that PON port has 20 or 30 or 50 ONUs, you will get all the ONUs information. For example, when we click on the detail of the GPON 0x1, it's meaning all detail information. Number 1 ONU, it has the RX. What are the RX of all those? So how many? I'm getting 95 items. So it's meaning under this PON port, we have 95 GPON ONUs. So all of them, their RX is this. So you can check the at a glance. Okay, you can check, click on the next, by next, like this way. Okay, so 95. Then the MAC address. You can check the MAC address of all those under the VLANs. MAC address, all the VLANs. You can search from here. Maybe 26 2689. So 2689 VLAN. What is the VLAN? This VLAN is under interface 0x2, and that is the MAC address. So by this way, you will be getting the MAC address of the interface and VLAN. ONT info. If you click on the ONT info, you can see there are all the ports, and if you click in any port, you can see all the ONU under that port, all the ONUs, the number, the status, that ONU is connected or down, the vendor ID, all the vendor, is it BDCOM or which vendor, the serial number, status, and in the right side there is the detail. If you click on the detail, you'll be getting all the detailed information of that particular GPON ONU. You can see from how long this ONU is connected. You can see if it is SFU or HGU. You can see the ONU firmware version. If it is what is the ONU model and vendor ID, everything you can check. Also, you can check here the deactivate reason. If I go to another deactivate reason like that, go back. See, so deactivate reason. What was the last deactivate reason? Here you can see the dying gasp. This is the time. What time? It is deactivated, last deactivated time, this dying gasp. Its meaning, dying gasp meaning there is no electric power at the ONU site. Or you can see the lossy. Maybe this is fiber disconnected or any other reason, you can check over here. So this is ONT information and rejected ONU. If there is any ONU rejected, you can see in here, this panel. ONT optic info. In this tab, there are all the ONU, all the PON port, GPON 1, 2, 3, 4, all the PON ports. If you click any port, any PON port, you will be getting all the information under that PON port. What are the information? ONU optic info. See, previously it was PON optic info. PON port optical info, we got it from here. But in ONT optic info, you can see when I click on the GPON 0x2, you can see all the TXRX, individual ONU TXRX. The ONU 0x2, that ONU TX, this is the ONU RX. What are the ONU RX TX? Each one. But that was PON optical info and detail. That was under the OLT PON port. So OLT side, we got the RX of the ONU. Right? That is the difference. In between this is the individual RxTX. Okay. So next log query, you can check all the logs over here. So you can search the log in here. So whatever log it generates, you can find the log in here. Then about, this is the Shanghai Board Data Communication. This is our company. So after that, real-time, this is the real-time monitor. Then if you configure ONU profile configure, from here you can see the TCON configure, and you can do the TCON configure from here, new, like this, TCON configure. TCON is for the upload configuration. Rate limit, you can do the rate limit, how much bandwidth you would like to assign for your ONU. You can do the rate limit from here under the profile. Virtual port, you can configure the virtual port in here. So all you can configure all the things, all the necessary things from your web interface. No need to go to CLI command line. Sometimes few engineers or few agents, customer support agents are not much familiar with the command line. So our GUI interface, wave interface, is much more developed. So virtual port you can configure from here. Tcon virtual port bind. You can bind the Tcon and virtual port. Then VLAN, you can configure the VLAN new and then VLAN. That's the VLAN. And VLAN, you can this is the OLT VLAN and mode, access, trunk, everything you can do. Transparent, tag means the tag VLAN. Okay. So flow mapping, you can configure the flow mapping new, then flow mapping. This was the ONU profile config. Under ONU profile config, you can do ONU, all the profile config from the ONU profile config. Then advanced config, the VLAN. This is the VLAN for the OLT. VLAN ID, you can configure up to 4096 VLAN. So VLAN, our by default is for the uplink for the GPON, it is .1Q tunnel uplink. But you can change it to normal access or trunk, anything if you want, Giga 0x1. So VLAN config in the right side, edit, you can do anything you want. From the wave interface, you can do the configure the VLAN. Storm control, the nice thing, this is a port security for storm control. You can assign multicast, unicast, and also broadcast in each port, either gigaport, uplink ports, or PON ports. However, whatever you want, you can configure. By default, it is 500 PPS packet per second. So you can assign anything if you want. So that is for the security purpose. So storm control, we can control the storm in the OLT interface from GUI mode. IP access list. This is basically switching path, configuration. You can do it from the web interface. MAC access list. Static route. The static route, you can do the static route. Our OLT is a layer 2, but maximum layer 3 features is supported. So you can do the static route from here also in the web interface. So now PON configuration. That is one of the important thing. Under PON configuration, you will be getting PON list. So how many PON? There are 8 PON ports. So PON ports are mode. You can see the mode. Authentication method. You can set the authentication method from here also. By default, it is disabled. If you set any authentication method, your ONU will not be registered. Your ONU will be in rejected mode. Here is the rejected mode, and you have to allow from here the PON list and the PON port. If you go to the ONU bind in the detail, you can see the detail ONU bind in detail. And from here you can delete the ONU. Just delete the ONU. If I click the delete, it will be deleted. Also, you can bind the new. For example, if you click the new, you can bind over here. So this is the PON list. In each PON port, you have to click the detail and whatever you want. Either you can just delete the ONU and the particular PON port, or you can bind ONU in that PON port. So next is the ONT configuration. You can see all the PON ports individually. So it's very fine that we can see that each and every PON port individual. And if you click in one PON port, you can see all the ONU list over here. all the ONU list over here. It's very nice. So I can see all the ONUs in here. If I check and click in here, then from here that pawn is GPON 0 by 1. So it's meaning this ONU is under GPON 0 by 1 and 61 number. 61 number. You can see anything. That is meaning this ONU is meaning GPON 0 by 2. 0 by 1 is to 2. So it's meaning that is second number ONU and it is under pawn port 1. So pawn port 1, and from here you can configure anything. If it is HGU, then you can configure the Wi-Fi from here. This is SFU, so you cannot do that. You can configure CATV. So this is if this is a CATV ONU, you will be able to configure from here. Very simple. And from here you can do the configure Vlan. And so you can see unit number is 1. So you can assign the Vlan. So you can assign you have to create the VLAN profile and just assign the VLAN. If there is no profile, you can create a VLAN profile from here. Create a new profile. See, create a new profile, new. So here you may do the new profile test or whatever, tag VLAN this one or whatever. Then this test profile you may apply on that ONU. However, this is the individual tutorial, but I am showing the features. What features we have in our GPON OLT that you may enjoy from your web browser. Okay. So those are the features, nice features. And switch config. The OLT has two parts logically. One is pawn part and another one is switch part. So in that switch part, switch list the number, the interface, giga1, giga2, 10G1, 10G2. You can see the mode. You can change the mode also, either .1Q channel uplink or trunk or access, whatever. And from the VLAN interface, you can change the interface, new and VLAN interface. Okay, you can change VLAN interface over here. VLAN. You can create the VLAN, and each interface, logical interface, you will be assigning three IP address. For example, VLAN 100, you will be able to configure 3 IP address under 100. VLAN 101, you will be able to assign 3 IP address. One is primary, additional to our secondary. 3 IP addresses for that particular VLAN 101, like this. LLDP, so you can see the LLDP over here. Port mirroring. So port mirroring is an important feature also. Sometimes your engineer, any engineer needs to mirror the port to capture the packets through the Wireshark. So you can do the mirroring in our GPON OLT from web interface. Protect group. You can make a group for who can reach one another. That is called a protect group. Aggregation is LSCP, port aggregation, or LSCP, port channel bonding, like that. So you can do the from here. EAPS, that is for the redundant EAPS, RSTP and EAPS. By default, our OLT is RSTP configured, but if you want the EAPS or ERPS, that is for the ring network redundants. You can do the configuration from here. So DDM configuration. DDM is by default disabled. If you enable DDM, you will be able to check the FX port RxTX. For example, if you use the SFP port, SFP module, SFP port, you will be able to check TX-RX if you enable. So by default, our DDM is disabled. Okay. MTU config, by default our MTU is 1500, so you can check, you can change this MTU, and our MTU is supported maximum 9216. Lastly, that is the system. Under the system, so SMTP, Snmp management, you can configure the Snmp. Snmp is for maybe if you want to configure our NMS, then you need the Snmp configuration. NTP, by default there is no NTP configured, because the NTP is different from country to country, and if you set the time, and if this OLT is rebooted, then the time will be gone, it will be reset. So we have a NTP, so if you configure the NTP, this time will never gone if your OLT is rebooted. So our OLT is supported NTP. Simple, very simple. And host name, you can change the host name over here. User manager, you can create the user. Here you can see the support user, admin user. You can create new user and only sync user, admin user or only user, for just for the user mode. No need to do any root permission, for the view only. Log manager, you can configure the log over here. Our log manager, you can support the log server. If you make a log server in another server, and all of the log will be stored in your server. So log manager, you can do that. Diagnostic, from your OLT you can ping. For example, you can ping anything, so you can ping. So that is configuration file. Here from configuration file you can export and import. For example, you can take the backup from here and the restored backup from here. iOS software, in this iOS software you can upload and update the iOS firmware you can check from here, update from here. Restore, if you want to factory default, you can just click here, this OLT will be factory default. And reboot, you can reboot this OLT, just click here and the OLT will be rebooted. So far these are the features, the functional features in our GPON OLT, from where you can operate in our web interface, GUI mode. So far that's it, and enjoy our GPON OLT, and the separate features we will make a different video tutorial. So enjoy our video tutorial and being with us. Thank you very much everyone.